Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do something a bit different. I have mentioned that I am also a card maker. I have actually been a card maker for over 10 years now, and I thought why not do a WIP Chat and for a change not diamond paint while doing so, but making a card. And today we're actually going to make an Easter card. I have brought another tag. It's another get to know me tag, which Elizabeth Inslee, and I hope I didn't butcher your name. I'm so sorry, Elizabeth, if I did. But she did it during her WIP Chat, and there were quite a few questions in there that weren't in mine, and I thought, why not do another one, give you some more information, and maybe kill another hour? Though, to be honest with you, usually my card making takes quite a bit of time, even the simple cards. For the purpose of this video, I've actually thought my whole card through before I start, which I usually don't do. Go figure why it takes me so long to actually make a card then. And I hope I have gathered all the supplies I need, so I don't need to get up and search through stuff while we are doing this. The stamp we are going to use today is Exciting by Neat and Tangled, and I guess that leaves no question that this is an Easter card. All right, let's get our card base done first. And sorry if I get quiet for a moment, but cutting stuff is always better if you concentrate. Because I'm actually working with inches here, and as you might be aware while you watch me struggle with this cutting machine, Germany actually doesn't use the inch system. We use centimeters. And I have to be careful if I work with inches, or I can get confused easily. And that's never a good thing. So we are going to score this at 5.5 to make that a 5.5 by 4.25 top folding card. And let's start with the first question. Please tell us when you were born. As I already mentioned during my last WIP Chat, my first WIP Chat, not the last one. I was born in 1981, and the exact date would be August 25th. What is your full name, and are you proud of it? My full name is Heike Ginzak. I don't have a middle name, and I'm going to tell you the story why in a moment, because I think that fits the next question quite well. And am I proud of my name? Well, to be honest, my name has given me a lot of trouble during my childhood. I have never been really bullied, but kids have a lot of fun with taking names and teasing other kids about their names, and mine is quite old-fashioned. Even in the recent renaissance of old names here in Germany, mine hasn't come up. That's how old-fashioned it is. And parents have in recent years named their kids some of the most old-fashioned names I could think of. Even names like my 90-year-old grandmother has. So yeah, both of them actually. So yeah, am I proud of it? Well, I'm okay with it now. Proud, I don't know why I would be proud of a name, honestly. I had no part in it. I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera. This is a little more involved than diamond painting, and my camera is actually attached to my shelving unit and not to my desk, but it might still shake a little bit. Are you named after someone? If yes, then after whom? I am actually not named after someone, but as I mentioned, there is a bit of a story behind my name. My parents didn't know whether they were going to get a girl or a boy back when I was on the way. And my mother, I know, had names picked out for both cases. She wanted to name a boy Florian, and she wanted to name a girl either Jennifer or Simone. And as you can guess from the fact that I am named neither, something went wrong there. And that something would have been my dad. My father was married before, I think I mentioned that too, and he has a son from this first marriage. And this son actually was supposed to be named Andreas, which is the German version of Andrew. But his actual name now is Michael, or Michael, like we say in German. Because while his mother was still recovering from giving birth to my brother, my father went off and told the clerk at the hospital who filled in the birth certificates that my brother was named Michael. No middle name either, by the way. He did the same with me. So my mother gave birth to me, I was there, I was quite obviously a girl, and instead of doing what she had planned in that case, he went off and told the clerk my name was Heike. And let me tell you, my mom was not amused about that. It's not so much the fact that she doesn't like the name. I think she's actually quite okay with that, but you know, if you talk about things like that with your partner, you expect them to honor your wishes and not just to walk off and do what they want to do. That's my dad for you. The reason why neither my brother nor I have a middle name, though, is because my father has one and he hates it with a passion. What's even worse about it is that my grandparents hyphenated his names. So his middle name isn't actually his middle name, it's officially part of his first name. On every official document, he has to put down, let's check that, get that down right, because we are not going to be able to adjust this afterwards. He has to put down his full name, and he doesn't like his full name. And for that reason, he decided if he had ever was going to have kids, those kids would only have one name. And I think when he named my brother, he also discovered that he wanted to give his kids names that couldn't be shortened down into nicknames and were actually short. So in my brother's case, this didn't work out very well because his name is quite long and he has been called Micha for his whole life. In my case, he succeeded because there's no way in hell to shorten down my name in any way that makes sense. Mission accomplished. Thank you, Dad. Well, all that is fine with me. The only thing I told him, and I did that very recently, is that he chose a name that's so complicated for everyone who is not German that no one is able to pronounce it correctly, even after I tell them how it's supposed to be said. And he thinks that's funny. But I have constantly people around me apologizing for the fact that they can't pronounce my name right. And I feel sorry for these people. But I'm actually really, really, really not annoyed if you pronounce my name wrong. I have no problem with that whatsoever, and please don't keep worrying about that. Anyway, where are you from and are you proud of it? Yeah, I've mentioned that multiple times. I am from Germany, and it's a bit of a mixed thing to ask a German if he or she is proud to be German. Historically, people get nervous if they encounter a German who is proud to be German, because this is considered to be patriotic, I guess, and as history has proven, we have done some stupid shit when it comes to being patriotic and nationalistic. So in general, we don't really do the whole "we are German and proud of it" thing. And quite honestly, I have never ever thought about the question whether I was proud to be German or not. It's just something that happened. But if we change the question to am I happy to live in Germany, I can wholeheartedly say yes, I am. Do you love playing any sports or just watching it? Well, I absolutely don't love watching sports. I think that's one of the most boring things you can do in your life. I don't actively play any sports, but there are actually some sports I used to enjoy. One of them being volleyball. I always enjoyed that. I wasn't super good at it, admittedly, but I liked it enough that I wanted to do it. I also mentioned before I like swimming, so whenever I can, I am doing that. Just trying to figure out how I want to color the bunny. I think I'm going to go for natural. And I mentioned before, as a young girl around 13, 14, I also enjoyed horseback riding very much, but I never got seriously into it. So I don't know if I would still like it today. I have to check that I actually get you in focus here. And in case you aren't just watching a half-empty table, because that can easily happen if I get into the groove. So I don't know if I would still enjoy that if I did that today, but I guess I would, because this was just something I liked a lot and was naturally good at, so I guess I would still enjoy that to that day. So in case you're not familiar with these pens I'm using, these are called Copic markers. These are the sketch markers, and they have a very soft brush tip on the one side and a chisel tip on the other. But as you can see from the fact that this side is quite dirty and this is not, I never use the chisel tips. These are alcohol markers, and I think originally they were created for designers, because architects and designers use those to do their sketches. But card makers love to use them to color their images too. And I'm one of them. I'm going to be honest with you, I probably own about 15 different coloring systems, from colored pencils over alcohol markers to many different types of watercolors. But these are my favorite, and for me they are the easiest to use. So these are usually my go-to. And sorry that this is not going as quickly as the previous tags. Which one is better, basketball or baseball? I don't actually like both, but if I have to pick one, I have to say basketball, because I've never seen even a single minute of baseball outside of an Hollywood movie. I don't know what the game is all about except for hitting a tiny ball with a baseball bat. I don't know the rules, so yeah. I guess I have to pick basketball in that case. At least I've played this game before, even if I'm not a huge fan. Who's your favorite person in modern history? All right. That's a question I have never thought about, but I guess someone who has really impressed me in recent years is that girl. I think she's from Afghanistan, or is she from Syria? Malala, this girl they shot in the head because she was requesting that girls should be allowed to get an education and go to school, and obviously terrorists are afraid of nothing more than that. Yep, this girl is quite impressive, and I hope she will be around for a long time, and I think she's going to achieve a lot of things. I mean, she already has, but I think that's just the beginning of it. Sorry for that. And that we are going to see a lot more of that. Who is your favorite writer in modern history? And I nearly dropped the whole case of pens. Because I'm talented like that. I don't know. I usually don't follow certain writers. If I had to pick one I read the most from in recent years and enjoyed everything I read, I would say J.K. Rowling's, because I obviously love the whole Harry Potter book series to death. But I have to admit, I have not read anything she came out with afterwards. You might be aware that she wrote, I think, was it thrillers or was it crime novels? I think she wrote something like 3 novels under a pseudonym after she did the Harry Potter books. And I haven't read any of those. So I don't know if I actually just enjoyed this one story or if I would enjoy anything she writes. My guess is the former, because I've never had an author I enjoyed everything from. Who is your favorite musician of the 20th century? Nothing I listened to while I was still in the 20th century, and that was contemporary in my time. You probably have to go back a little. As I mentioned in my 90s tag, I didn't enjoy a lot of the music we had in the 90s. I didn't listen to any music at all while still in the 80s, because I was just 0 to 9 in the 80s. So that was not really a time where I listened to music a whole lot. I didn't even enjoy kids' music much as a kid. So I have to go back a bit further and probably choose someone I started listening to way later in life. And I think if I have to pick someone, stop fussing around so much. Queen? I know that's not because of the movie they recently made about them. I haven't actually seen it. And sorry about the coughing. I don't know what that is about today. And it's annoying. No, I've not seen that movie, so that's not the reason behind it. I just always enjoyed the music, and I think it's quite timeless too. And that's why I would pick them. But that's a gut decision really, because I never thought about my favorite musician from this time really. Which one do you prefer, Daft Punk or Gorillaz? I don't particularly care for both of them. I find both bands somewhat annoying. They have vastly different styles, but I find them both pretty annoying. Do you love animals? If yes, then which one you love the most? I sure do, and I guess my favorite animals are cats. You'd never have guessed that, right? Oh no, let's not pick green. Green is going to go on the ground. Do you have children, and how many? Nope, I don't have children yet. Still working on that. Basically also a WIP Chat. But don't be afraid, I won't give you any details on that at all. If you have children, what's their name? That's not applicable. How many children do you want to have? I draw the line at 2. I guess if I have any at all, I probably will only have 1, because you know I'm getting up in age as far as kids go now, so I'm under no illusion that I will have multiple kids, unless it's going to be twins, and please, it's not going to be twins. Please, please, please. Are you married or single, or why? I am not married and I am not single. I have been with my boyfriend for 18.5 years now. And yes, we're still not married. And that's basically because my boyfriend is, for whatever reason, not ready to commit to that. I'm not sure what he's waiting for, because we have been living together for 14 years now. Yeah. Not sure what he is waiting for, but he's waiting for something. If you are not married, when are you going to be married? I guess never. Like I said, he's still waiting for something. He probably doesn't know either what he's waiting for. And I guess that's pretty much the concept of never. What is your favorite drink of all? I don't think that I have one drink I would abandon every other drink for at all times. It really depends on the mood. So, I don't know. Do you have a favorite basketball player? I sure do not. What is your greatest achievement in high school? I went to high school and I passed, and my passing grades and my graduation grade was pretty good. Don't know what else you can achieve during high school. I guess unless you talk about stuff like sports or things like that. But I mentioned before, I am not big into sports as a competition because I'm pretty bad at everything that is related to sports. And I prefer it just for fun. Are you proud of your points in high school? I guess with points you mean how I graduated? I'm not sure if that's the same, but I guess since our school systems are quite different, I'm going to go with how I graduated, my graduation grade. And yeah, I'm okay with that. That was actually quite a good grade. It was a B. And considering that I did nothing to work for that at all, yep, that's all right. In hindsight, I sometimes wonder if I had tried putting in a little more work instead of cruising through school, if I might have been able to make it a straight A. But that's water under the bridge. Do you want to have a business? No, I do not. Which business you want to have and why? Well, like I said, I do not want to have a business. I'm quite happy with where I am. I am employed. I have been employed for the last 18 years. Or close to 18 years. We are getting close to that now. I have switched companies a few times in these 18 years, but it has always been under conditions that made it so that my contract never ended at any point. So I have now 18 years with the same company on the book officially, which gives you quite a bit of job security here in Germany, which is nice to have. And I guess I would not jeopardize that for something as insecure as going into my own business, especially considering I'm still the major breadwinner in our household. And that would be kind of stupid of me to do. What is your most favorite scene from movies? I guess they mean from a movie. Oh god. I watch so many movies, and I'm also quite blessed with the ability to forget a lot about the things I have watched before, so I can rewatch and be surprised every single time. But it also makes it very hard to have one favorite quote, one favorite scene. So I guess not really. That is very random. If you love snakes, which one is your favorite? Well, I wouldn't say I love snakes. I don't want to own one, for example. I don't want to cuddle up to one. I find them quite fascinating. It's a bit like with sharks. They are very fascinating animals, and I love watching documentaries about them, but I'm not such a big fan that I actually have a favorite type. It's a snake, or in my example, a shark. So no favorite snake, but I don't hate them. I also don't love them. Do you love music? Which genre is your favorite? I guess yes, I like movies, music quite a lot. But I don't constantly listen to music. Most of the times I actually don't even notice that things are quiet in the house. And if I listen to music, it is usually more on the rock and more toned down metal side of things. So I don't listen to any of the loud screaming type of metal music, which is what most people associate with the genre. But I like I have mentioned before, I'm quite fond of more melodic types of metal music, and I also like rock and alternative, although in recent years I have been quite okay with mainstream as well. I don't know if it's me who's slowly but surely getting more mellowed out, or if mainstream has just gotten better and closer to my tastes. Not sure. Yeah. So that's basically my favorite type of music. Please tell me, which one is your favorite, old school rap or today's new age rappers? I wholeheartedly despise rap music. I just can't stand it. Same for hip hop. I just can't stand it. I guess what most people think about rock and metal is what I think about rap and hip hop. It's just a lot of noise, but not much music behind it. You can put techno in the same category as far as I'm concerned, by the way. So yeah. How tall are you? Have you ever dreamed about being have you ever dreamed about being taller? Let's put it that way, because this sentence is really strange. I am 5'4", as I've mentioned before, and I guess I don't really dream about being taller, and I have never really dreamt about being taller, but I guess I would have liked to grow as tall as my mom. She is 5'8", and I think that would have been quite a nice height. I don't know. It's not something I have spent a lot of time thinking about. It's just how it turned out. And that's alright. What is your favorite number? And please tell us why. You know, my favorite number, I think, is in the same resort, taking a nice, relaxing vacation as my spirit animal. I don't know, do people actually have favorite numbers? Because I don't think I ever even thought about picking a favorite number. But maybe I'm just strange, I don't know. Could very well be possible. Have you ever been on any bridge? Do you like bridges? Alright. Question. This tag gives me a lot of questions, quite honestly. Who in the heck who doesn't live in a desert full time and has never left the desert has never been on a bridge, please? That's the first question. And why would someone ask me if I like bridges? Bridges are useful. Bridges are there to keep me from having to swim from point A to point B if I want to cross a river or to climb up and down a canyon. I mean, that's what they are there for. And I don't particularly love them because they are usually pretty high above ground, whatever the ground is. and that's not really something I enjoy a whole lot. Do you have a fear of anything? If it's not secret, please tell us what you fear the most. I guess that's the perfect segue, because I'm afraid of heights. And I've been for quite some time, not always. I know that I've been quite okay as a kid with heights. But sometimes during, I guess, my teenage years, I suddenly started to be not so okay with it, and this has grown and developed, and now it's sometimes bad enough that I actually get sweaty hands and get really nervous if I'm in the car and, funnily enough, driving over a bridge. If I can see where it goes down on the left and right, I'm not very comfortable with that. Sorry, I have to take a drink. What's always a bit annoying about the fact that I'm afraid of heights is that people don't take it seriously, because they don't understand the difference of being high up on something that is not completely closed off and therefore for my brain secure, and something which is open. There was, for example, one incident during a school trip where we went to Berlin for a week, and we went to visit the TV tower in Berlin, which is, because it's a TV tower, pretty high up, but it's a completely closed building. You can't even approach the windows of this building, because this building is like a globe on a pole, and the inside is made in a way that you can't step upright to the windows. There are barriers at least a meter away from the window, and we went up on that tower the one day, and I didn't have any issue with that. I knew I wouldn't have any issue with that. And then the next day we went to the Berlin Dome, and the teacher had the great idea that we had to go up there to have a great look over the city from the towers of this church. And I told him I wanted to stay down, because this was actually outside. There's a banister around the whole thing, which is probably this thick. Massive stone. And of course, rationally, I know nothing can happen. But fears are not rational. Long story short, he was of the belief, because I had been up on the TV tower the day before and did not have any issues whatsoever. The only reason I didn't want to go up there with them was because it meant climbing quite a few stairs. And that is the usual prejudice you face with people, a lot of teachers, especially if they teach physical education as well, if you are an overweight child. Truth, I have grown up in an apartment building on the 3rd floor. I know Americans would actually call it the 4th floor, because you call the ground floor first floor, and we call it ground floor. But that also meant I had to climb quite a few stairs on a daily basis. So climbing stairs, not an issue at all. But yeah, you know, the fat child never wants to do anything straining. Thank you very much. So we went up there. We went outside. Going up wasn't an issue. Going outside was. I froze. I completely froze. I literally stood with the back to the wall and couldn't move left or right. And then the teacher realized Oh shit, Houston, we have an issue. Yeah, Sherlock, you figured that out really fast. Yeah. I mean, somehow we got me down in the end, no problem, but this was really unnecessary, and if people would take people with phobias seriously, something like that wouldn't happen. He never forgot though, because the year after we went on another trip. This was actually the last one we took, which was for our graduation, and we went to Paris. And of course, the one thing you do when you go to Paris, you visit the Eiffel Tower. And we arrived there, he turned around and told me, and you are not going to go up there. And I thought, yeah, I never intended to, but thank you for your consideration. At least he didn't force me this time. Where are you working right now? I am working for an IT service provider. I'm not going to say which one. But I am, like I said, an IT person. And I'm currently working as a project manager. Have you ever dreamed of being a successful lawyer? Nope, not a single minute in my life. Becoming a lawyer, studying law was actually quite popular when I was still in school. I guess because people thought that as a defense lawyer you could actually earn a lot of money. Not so much as a state attorney, but defense lawyers, maybe even judges, I don't know. And people thought this was really a good career. I think in the end only one ever got into that. I don't know if she really saw it through to the end, but me personally, I always thought that this is probably one of the most boring jobs you can pick in the whole wide world. And that's coming from someone who went into IT. Go figure. Which actor is your favorite, Al Pacino or Robert De Niro? Let's rephrase this question. Which of these two do I prefer? Because none of them is actually my favorite. If I have to pick between those two, I would pick De Niro. Which is mostly because I have seen more of the movies he was in and I enjoyed those movies more. Quite honestly. Where do you want to travel? I haven't traveled a lot in my life, especially not in my adult life. And there are a lot of places I want to visit at some point in my life. I want to see Japan and Korea, South Korea. I want to see Australia and New Zealand. I want to visit... Well, I've never thought about which countries in Africa I would like to visit, but I know I would like to visit a few of them. And of course I would like to see the US one time, because I have also never been to the US before. Yep. Which ocean is your favorite and why? Well, I like the ocean, but I have never thought about the fact, and now that I think about it, we should have made the fold here. Duh. That happens when I try to chat while I make cards. I get confused and do stupid things. Favorite ocean? I don't think I have one. I mean, I don't know if you're supposed to have one. I've been to the North Sea, I've been to the Baltic Ocean, and I have been to the, what is it called in English? Is it the Mediterranean Sea? The one down in Italy. I've been to that one. But I don't really have a favorite. I mean, ocean is ocean, quite honestly. Have you ever been to Europe, and where? Well, duh. Of course I've been to Europe. I mentioned in my last tag, I have been to multiple countries in Europe. I've been to Austria, the Netherlands, Denmark, France, Italy. I have been to England, and I have spent a couple of weeks on one of the Spanish islands called Gran Canaria. And of course, since I am living in Germany, I have been to Germany too. Do you love history? Did you have high grades in history classes? I do love history quite a bit. I watch a lot of documentaries, and I like to learn stuff about the countries I am not living in and have never learned about in school in history class, because German history class is very focused on German history, as you can probably guess, especially a certain period of German history, which is of course a good thing, because you should never ever forget the mistakes of the past, especially if they have been such huge mistakes, such horrible mistakes, and had such major consequences for everyone involved. But it also didn't make the whole thing of history class very interesting if you revisit the same thing over and over and over again. And I wish they had been a bit more diverse, which is why I mostly spent my time learning about stuff I didn't learn back then. Did I have high grades? I guess I had okay grades. It's not like I worked my butt off for this class, but I didn't work my butt off for any class, so this is a running theme. Do I like this very small border? Don't think I do. Who is your favorite king in history? Okay. I guess the one I found the most entertaining, as long as you were not married to him, is Henry VIII. Because this guy was just bonkers. I mean, he pretty much blew up the whole concept of faith and church in England just because they wouldn't allow him to get divorced. This takes balls. And a lot of crazy. So yeah, I guess if I had to pick a favorite, I would pick him, but quite honestly, that is another thing I've never thought about. Which of the kings in history was my favorite? Strange questions. Which one do you prefer, George Washington or Thomas Jefferson? I really can't answer this question because, like I said, history class in German is very focused on German history of the 30s and 40s of the 20th century, and we never ever covered anything about American presidents and only the barest hints of American history, really. So everything I know about American presidents that were before my lifetime comes from Hollywood movies. And even if there are probably some that are accurate, I don't know which one those are. And I don't take anything I see in the movies as 100% true. So no preference there. Which one is your favorite, Barack Obama or George Bush? First question would be, which Bush? There were two. I know that. And the next question would be, because I guess you are talking about W, why would I prefer one or the other? Because I'm not American. They have never been my presidents. Yeah. I don't give a flying fudge about that. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm going to read the question. I'm not going to answer it. Do you believe that Trump will make America great again? Yeah, thank you. Next question, because this is going to let loose so much controversy. No, we are not going to answer that. And also, let me repeat, not my president, not my problem. Why would I care? Have you the right to vote in US elections? No, I don't. Probably never will. And shock or shock, no, something happened that never happens in my life. I got a call and of course I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Sorry about that. I think the last question I had was if I had a favorite during the last US elections. No, why would I? It's not my election, not my president. Of course I did not have a favorite candidate during this election. I have to get the stupid cable out of the way again. It wasn't even a call for me. Usually if someone calls me on this phone, it's not for me. Isn't this sad? What do you think about the Russia's leader Putin? I think that this question is very odd. And I think that's not something I'm going to answer either. How do you describe yourself? I am basically an introvert. I think I'm pretty laid back. Usually mild-mannered and generally positive. But I still like to stay on the realistic side of life, which means that I'm not one of these happy clappy persons. I'm positive, but I'm not happy clappy. Can you describe yourself in just 3 words? Yeah, I guess. Introverted, empathic, and sarcastic. What are the most powerful 3 words that changed your life? No clue. Am I supposed to say I love you in this moment? I don't know. Who do you admire the most, mother or father? I admire them both. And I admire them both equally because each of them has certain traits and strength the other doesn't have, and I still admire a whole lot. And I don't pick favorites between my parents because I am in the lucky situation that both my parents are very great and loving, and yeah, I think I'm a lucky person as far as my parents go. Do you have siblings? How many? I have an older brother, like I said before, and he is my only sibling. He is 11 years older than me, so quite a bit. But like I mentioned, my father was married before he met my mother, And also when they met, my mother was still quite young, so they were together for over 4 years before they married and I was born. So yep, that's how I got such an old brother. I like to tease him about that, and he's going to turn 50 next year. So much ammunition. How many books do you read during summer vacation? Well, I don't have any summer vacation any longer because I'm out of school and part of the working people. But I guess even if I still had a summer vacation, I would have to admit that I probably wouldn't read a single book during that time, because I have in recent years not read many actual published books. One of my guilty pleasures is reading fan fiction. And I don't mean porn, I mean fan fiction. There are quite a few very, very good authors out there who just, honestly, a bit like myself, don't spend the time on developing their own world and their own characters, but like to write to let off some steam. And the easiest way to do that is to use an existing world, existing characters, and just to play with that. And that's what fanfiction writers do. Some do it by writing porn, and some doing it by writing serious stories. How many books have you read in 2017? I have no clue, but probably something between 0 and 2. Because like I said, I haven't read a lot of books recently. And with recently, I mean years. There just hasn't been anything that really tickles my fancy, I have to say. And I spend so much time doing different things now that reading books is always on the back burner. And even if I start a book, I often lose focus and just forget about it at some point. Now, are we going to put this down flat, or are we going to raise this up? And I guess we should decide if we want to put one of the sentiments up here. I'm very bad at using sentiments on cards. Don't know why, but most of the times I don't do that. But yeah, let's go for it. Are you a technology lover? If not, why? Yes and no. I mean, I'm not a technology hater, but I'm also not someone who always has to have the latest and greatest in life. And it really depends on the type of technology. So I'm not big on smartphones, for example. I do own one now, but I haven't had one for the longest time because there was actually no reason for me to have one. And once I got one, I didn't really understand what all the fuss was about. So yeah. But I have always been very partial to computers. I have gotten one when I turned 16, which was back in the times with Windows 95, believe it or not. So not one of the first, but not far behind either. Yeah, and I like the positive things about the internet. I like how connected we are these days. I like how easy we can get information. I like how much fun you can have with things you would never have discovered without being connected to pretty much everyone worldwide. So that's what I love about technology. What do you prefer, Windows or Mac? I'm not sure if I will ever fully convert to Mac, quite honestly. I have had a Windows PC, like I said, since I turned 16, and I only very recently switched over to Mac because it was something I always wanted to do and always delayed because of the price difference between a Windows machine and a Mac. But when my last PC died, I bit the bullet and I actually invested in a Mac, and I like it, but there are some things I still haven't really, I guess I haven't spent the time to get fully acquainted with the Mac, and some things just come easier to me on a Windows machine. And I still have a functioning Windows machine, so I'm currently doing this double track thing of using both. I'm mostly using the Mac though. But I guess another factor is that we use Windows machines at work, and this will never change. And maybe that's another factor why I can't fully let go of it. And probably never will. But that's okay, I guess. Please don't throw stones at me. Which brand is your favorite? Apple or Samsung? Or Samsung, you probably say. I guess they are talking phones, and as far as phones go, that would be Apple. Because I like the iOS system a lot. I like how easy it is, how intuitive it is. I like that not everyone and their mother is allowed to mess with it. And I know that's something a lot of people actually dislike about it, but I am fond of that. Because it also gives you a certain type of security, which I actually stop struggling, which I actually appreciate. But if we move outside of the realms of phones, and I guess move into the things Apple is not dabbling with, like TVs, for example, I very much like Samsung. I have owned a Samsung TV for the last 10 years. We just recently had to buy a new one because the old one broke down, and I was absolutely not sad about that. I was actually quite happy because I was trying to convince the man that we needed to get a new TV. Ours was from 2009, as you can imagine. It was very out of date by now. It was very clunky. It wasn't able to do anything, and I wanted to get a new one, but I couldn't convince him that it was a good idea because our TV was still working, and why should we replace a working PC? And yeah, you know, this is a strange household. Normally a man would be all over the fact to buy the new shiny technology things. Not mine. He's a weirdo. So yeah, so one morning, actually a few minutes before we wanted to go out to the mall, I was still watching TV, and suddenly the picture changed from normal to horribly pink and green. And I mean neon pink and green. And I just thought, yes, that thing is finally dead. I took a picture of it and we went to the mall, and the guy there in the TV department of one of our electronics store took one look at it and then said, yep, say goodbye to that one. That's a goner. I was so happy. Do I actually like that? I need some smaller sequins. There's a whole lot of pink in this egg, and I like to break that up. And I would prefer to do it with a yellow sequins, but I don't have these tiny yellow sequins. So I guess I have to make do. Yeah, so when he declared our TV dead, we bought a new one, and I've been quite happy with that one since we bought that. But let's see how long this will last. We know technology is not getting very old these days. But I'm also not someone who throws out perfectly good working stuff just to get new ones. I don't think I like that. Sorry. Which operational systems user are you? iOS or Android? iOS. I wholeheartedly dislike anything Android. And I always have, probably always will. This system is just too open and too clunky for my liking, and like I said, pretty much everyone is allowed to mess with it, so I'm not very fond of this idea. I want to put some sequins on this, but I don't know. Let's have a look at this. Do I like this? No, I do not like this. This is getting ridiculous. And this, people, is the reason why making a simple card takes me so long. I want to put something on there, preferably sequins, but I can't find something I like here. Who is the most valuable person in the tech world, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates? Steve Jobs is very dead, so I'm not sure what this question is supposed to solve, I guess. Who is your favorite male YouTuber? I don't follow a lot of male YouTubers because I mostly follow craft channels, and those are mainly owned by females. But one of the male YouTubers I follow and like very much, I mentioned before, and that would be Council of Geeks. I just like him. I like most of the stuff he covers. I like the way he covers it. I like his energy. I think he's a nice guy. So yeah, that would be my favorite male YouTuber. And I guess the next question will be, who's my favorite female YouTuber? Yep. That's a hard question because most of the YouTubers I follow are female YouTubers, and it's really hard to pick a favorite out of the many great ones I watch every single day. I'm not sure I can do that, or if I even want to do that. How do you feel right now? I'm good. The stupid cough has finally stopped. Although my throat is starting to hurt a little, and I still don't know what to do about this card to make it more to my liking. It needs some decoration. Sorry. Can you remember the first time you felt angry? This was probably back when I was still a baby, so no. Can you remember the first time you laughed? Same answer. This has to be back when I was still a baby, and how am I supposed to remember that? Who's your favorite comedy movie actor? Comedy movies, and I think I mentioned that before, are actually, damn it, are actually my least favorite movies ever. I just have a hard time with them. and that's why I don't have a favorite comedy movie actor. I don't see a lot of them, and I don't enjoy them in general. Sometimes I follow a certain actor, and if he or she does a comedy, I will probably see it. Sometimes I'll even like it. But even with the actors I really, really, really like, their comedy movies are usually the ones I only see once, maybe twice. I mean, even for Robert Downey Jr., who I told you is currently my most favorite actor, I have seen his comedies. I've seen Tropic Thunder and I've seen Due Date once each. I don't consider his movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Sherlock and obviously the Marvel movies where he works with a lot of humor and a lot of quips, a comedy. So I've seen those multiple times. Although Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is close to comedy, and I've only seen that one twice so far. So this is not one of my favorites of his. So yeah, no favorite comedy movie actor. Which stand-up comedian is your favorite and why? My favorite stand-up comedian is a German comedian called Michael Mittermeier. He's from Bavaria, and I listened to his program the first time when I was in 8th grade, which would put me at 15, 16, something like that. And it was called Zapped, and it was all about TV shows, movies, everything which really related to my geeky self. So we clicked quite well. But I liked his type of humor in general. I still like it. He isn't doing as much as he used to now. But I still find it very funny. So he is still my favorite stand-up comedian. Which Home Alone movie is your favorite? Having to take a drink real quick. Home Alone. I've seen the first and the second. I think I've heard there's a third, but I've never seen that one. It was okay. I liked the first, but I didn't like it enough to want to rewatch it, and I had a friend who actually did. She wanted to rewatch it all the time, and I got so bored and so annoyed with this movie so fast. Just a moment, please. I had to grab something else. When was the last time you cried? I believe that was last week sometime. How about these? Do they fit better? Keep spilling stuff, girl. Why don't you? Yeah, I think sometimes last week. Sometime. I think this... I think I actually like this a bit better. It's not so on the nose. The thing with stuff like sequins, you should work in odd numbers. So I like to work in threes, which is why I'm desperately trying to get 3 sequins on there. It's just because it's a visual thing. Threes work very well for your eye. That's why I'm doing this, in case you're wondering why I am stumbling around like that. Yeah, anyway. Where were we? Last week, yeah. Sorry, getting distracted. Someone commented, I think on my first WIP Chat, that they were impressed how well I could diamond paint and talk. As you can see, once you move to a less mindless craft, and I don't mean to diss diamond painting, but it don't have to think too much about what you're doing, which is probably why it's so relaxing. Once I do something which requires a bit more concentration on my part, talking hard. What was the reason you cried the last time? There actually was no reason. I just started crying. And yes, that's odd, I know that. But I guess we all had times in our life where we were emotionally, let's say, at the brink, where the slightest thing could get us to cry. And I think I am there right now, because the last 6 months, I would say, were very hard on my family and myself in a lot of aspects. Not too bad, but a lot of constant stress and pressure, and I think it's taking its toll right now. But I'm okay. Don't worry. Do you know where you will be in your career in 10 years? Probably nowhere. And that is me being realistic and not pessimistic. 2 reasons for that. For one thing, things have been stagnating a lot in the last 10 years or so, and I don't expect it to get any better, realistically speaking. And also, I am not overly ambitious. So I'm not going to be the one who is going to try and always be in people's face about things and who is going to stand out. Like I said, I'm quite introverted. I'm good at my job. Most of the times I take pride in what I do, even if it's not exactly exciting or a dream job. But yeah, I am not the one who raises her hand and tries to get people's attention if, for example, a management position comes up. I don't want that. So I guess in 10 years time, maybe I will earn a bit more, but I'll probably not be very advanced as far as a career goes. And that is quite alright with me. Do you love your work, and is this your dream work? I guess that fits nicely into what I was just alluding to. I don't love my work. It's okay. It's a good job. It pays well. It is mostly secure. I would say I could have had a worse lot in life, and I'm aware of that, and I'm glad for that. Is this my dream job? No, not at all. But it's not a hard job. It's actually a nice way to make your living without too much of a hassle. And I appreciate that. What is your favorite memory from childhood? Well, I wish I could remember things like that, but as I mentioned in my first WIP Chat, I have long since forgotten most of the things of my childhood before the age of maybe 7, and even 7 and beyond is getting really fuzzy at times. Do you have pets, cat or dog? Yes, you already know. I have 2 cats. And actually my next WIP Chat and tag will be about my pets. Little sneak peek. Do you love fishing? And yes. If yes, then why? Look, it's good we are nearly through. Words are getting very hard right now. I've never tried fishing. I'm pretty sure I would not like it. While I'm not a vegetarian or vegan, I think I would have a huge issue with actually killing animals, and fishing would probably mean killing the fish in the end. Unless you throw them all back. Maybe I would enjoy that, but I don't know why I would. Which is your favorite burger and why? Favorite burger? I'm simple. I would say a very well-made cheeseburger. As for the why, do you really have to ask? The most simple things, when they are well done, are usually the best, in my opinion. And the last question is a very random one. Which one do you prefer, Coke or Pepsi? I guess I have to say I prefer Coke just out of habit, because that's what I've always had. If I had that type of drink, most restaurants and bars here in Germany offer Coke. Some Pepsi, but most Coke. But I would say I wouldn't notice the difference if you had me blind testing anything. And I've bought both in the past. So yeah, I guess random preference without any real reason, aside from habit. Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure yet if this card is actually finished. I'll have to think about it for a bit. It is very simple. I am currently in a phase where I do very simple cards, but I thought I'd take you on this journey and have you see me struggle through this. It is not a shaker card, I know, but I will do a shaker card on camera at some point, probably, because I do a lot of them. And they are actually quite easy to do. So maybe soon. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like this long rambling WIP and Chat, please like, please subscribe if you want to, and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you have comments or questions, please leave them below, and of course you can also drop me an email. I've put the address below as well. You can also find me on Instagram if you're interested. I put my Instagram handle in the description below too. And yeah, that's it for today. Have a good evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.